You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places, people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Cakefield. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Monday, April 23rd, Fayetteville City Council meeting. I'd like to welcome all of you. I think we had a couple of elected officials. I'd like to welcome Hope County Commissioner Alan Thomas. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. Any other elected officials or previously elected officials in the audience? We can make sure that we recognize you. This time we'll ask that we call Pastor Matt Seals from St. Matthew's Methodist Church forward to do the invocation. At the conclusion of the invocation, we ask that you please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. How you doing, Pastor?
Doing well, thank you. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day and this opportunity to gather in these chambers. We give you thanks for the calling to serve. We pray, Father, that you will give us all we need to serve you and the people of this community faithfully. We ask your blessing on this night. Give us guidance and wisdom in every decision that is made. Remind us, Father, of who you have placed into our care throughout our districts, and keep us mindful of the needs of all in this community. We pray, Father, you continue to protect our men and women who serve our country both home and abroad. Keep them safe in their trainings and missions. Wrap their families in your unfailing love. We ask your blessing and protection over our police, fire, and rescue members. We lift up our festivities this weekend at the Dogwood Festival, and we pray, Father, that you will provide for us a beautiful weekend, a safe and fun weekend for this community. And Father, whatever may be on our hearts and minds this night, we pray you will hear our prayer. And for these and all other blessings, we lift to you, and we give you thanks. Amen.
Amen. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
St. Matthew's United Methodist Church is located on 202 Hope Mills Road. It's a church that's been in this community for 61 years. In that same location, started in a little brick building that is now our thrift shop. We have a thrift shop that's open Tuesday through Saturday. Many of the proceeds that come into the thrift shop go right back into the community through Aging Center, through different nonprofits, throughout our community. We keep very little for the maintenance and upkeep of the thrift shop. So that's a blessing that we have there. And I've been here at St. Matthew's for 4 years, serving this community, the Lafayette Village community. We host the Lafayette Village Community Watch every Tuesday, the second Tuesday of every month. And it's a heavy heart that I say that this is my last 2 months in this community. We have, my family and I have been appointed to Manteo, North Carolina, to serve Mount Olivet United Methodist Church. So it's a bittersweet time in our life as we close this chapter and begin a new one. But give thanks to God for the time we have served here these last 4 years, and praying for you all and for this community. So,
thank you so much, sir, and appreciate our gifts.
Yeah.
And we never like to lose citizens to other places, but, God overrules the council any day. So.
Amen. Those that you have there are clutch crosses made by our Methodist men, our men's group. So, they're really neat. So,
thank you. You need twice the blessing. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. All right. Okay. At this time, we'll have some additional announcements. If we could have Miss Taylor Bridges, Miss Fayetteville, and Miss Fayetteville Outstanding Teen, Miss Mara Westbrook, if they could come forward.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, I am Taylor Bridges, Miss Fayetteville, and with me tonight is Miss Fayetteville's Outstanding Teen, Mara Westbrook. Just a little about me. I have been born and raised in Fayetteville, so this city truly does hold a special place in my heart, and I'm extremely excited to represent the city of Fayetteville at Miss North Carolina in June. I'm also a senior at East Carolina University, and so I'm also excited to say that I will be graduating in 2 weeks debt-free.
Wow.
Thanks to the scholarships. Thanks to the scholarships that have been provided to me through the Miss Fayetteville Scholarship Pageant and the Miss North Carolina Scholarship Pageant. So myself, along with my family, are extremely thankful for the Miss America organization in that aspect. Also, many people are unaware that every contestant competing for Miss North Carolina is required to have a platform that she promotes throughout her year of service, and mine is child abuse prevention. So since 8th grade, I've been involved in the Heart of Christmas show, which is a show put on right here in Fayetteville, and all of the proceeds go back to sick and abused children in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So when it came time to have a platform of my own, I knew that this would be the perfect one for me. So throughout the month of April, which is actually National Child Abuse Prevention Month, I've been able to pass out pinwheels to schools and churches throughout the community. And I've also been able to raise $1,300 for the Child Advocacy Center since I was crowned in January. So I'm really excited to continue promoting my platform, and both Mara and I are extremely excited to represent Fayetteville in June at Miss North Carolina and Miss North Carolina's Outstanding Teen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Couple daughters in college. I know how elated your parents are to graduate debt-free. So, well, thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for representing our city. At this time, I will give way to. Did have one additional announcement that was provided late. It was for the SOAR. Strengths in overcoming adversity through resilience, shared vision to reduce child maltreatment by the year 2030. And we did receive some information late upon that, and I wanted to make the announcement as we had agreed to do, is reference to child abuse. So thank you for the great work you're doing for the citizens of Fayetteville and for the children. At this time, I will yield to Councilmember Jensen as she recognizes our special member tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to introduce you to Constant Woods. She is, I think you're a senior at Jack Britt High School.
Right here. Yeah. Thank you. The Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council is hard at work. As April is the month of the military child, we are hosting a military child appreciation event next Monday, April 30th, where they will not only be able to be honored, but to meet more kids like them and learn about the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council as a chance to expand their horizons during their time in Fayetteville. Keep a lookout for the end of the year presentation that will be going on next month, and we'll be getting a date out sometime soon. Thank you.
All right, welcome. And the green light means yes. Okay. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right. At this time, I will ask that Colonel Bob Irvin, if you can meet me at the podium.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. And Colonel Retired Bob Irvin, thank you, sir. I'm going to read the proclamation, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the city of Fayetteville celebrates the 110th birthday of the United States Army Reserve, what began in 1908 as a tiny corps of medical professionals held in readiness for duty is today the Army's global operational reserve force. And whereas in 1908 Congress established the United States Army Reserve, the reserve only contains 160 doctors and nurses. A year later, America entered World War I. More than 160,000 reserve soldiers were mobilized to help the Army defeat Germany and the Axis powers. By World War II, more than 200,000 had joined the fight, serving on every front. And whereas through the two world wars, the Cold War, Korea, Vietnam, and the Persian Gulf War, the global war on terror, and countless other crises, operations, and emergencies, America's Army Reserve has never failed to meet the challenges of its time, providing quick access to the mission-critical forces and capabilities the Army needs to initiate, sustain, and prevail in major operations. Whereas the world is constantly changing, but one thing is constant: the Army Reserve. The Army Reserve will remain the dedicated Federal Reserve of the most decisive and lethal land force in the world, ready now, shaping tomorrow, leveraging the talent of the private sector and the dedicated support of our families, communities, and employers for the good of this nation. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of April in the year 2018 to be in honor of the United States Army Reserve 110th birthday, and encourage all citizens to join this observance. In witness whereof, Mayor Colvin has affixed his hand and caused the Great Seal of the City of Fayetteville to also be affixed this 23rd day of April 2018. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Next, we'd like to have Mr. Robert Van Goins come up for a proclamation. Industry Appreciation Month. Proclamation reads, whereas existing industries of Fayetteville are an essential segment of our city's economy, providing employment and for local residents, contributing revenues, and greatly enhancing our quality of life. And whereas the various industries existing in Fayetteville have an influence either directly or indirectly upon the lives of every one of our citizens. And whereas the potential for growth comes in part from within through the expansion of existing industries and the establishment of new homegrown industries. And whereas public awareness and understanding of the importance of industry to our local economy and quality of life are vital to the preservation of a favorable industrial climate. And whereas a favorable industrial climate is a major factor in decision by officials of existing plants to expand their operations and our city's ability to attract new industry. And now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2018 to be Industry Appreciation Month. Thank you. You've got one more, Mayor Colvin.
Yes, sir. And this is a kind of somber one, but I'd like to ask that one of the members of the Housing Authority, either Mr. Wright or someone representing the board, they didn't know about it. We understand that your board had a loss of one of its members, Mr. Poole, who has served honorably for over 40 years. And so I'll defer to you, Councilmember Jensen.
Yes. Whereas Mr. Calvin Parker Poole Jr. was born and raised in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and whereas Mr. Poole graduated from North Carolina State University and after graduation served our country as a pilot in the United States Navy, and whereas Mr. Poole returned to Fayetteville to join his parents in a family-owned real estate business that served residents of Fayetteville and Cumberland County, and whereas Mayor Beth Finch appointed Mr. Poole to the Board of Commissioners of the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority on July 13, 1978, and whereas Mr. Poole served the citizens of the city of Fayetteville on the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority Board for over 40 years, serving as chairman for the board for over 31 consecutive years. And whereas Mr. Poole led the FMHA through one of the most successful Hope 6 revitalizations in the country when the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority caused the demolition of the Campbell Terrace public housing development and replaced the same with the multifamily and senior housing developments. And whereas Mr. Poole was instrumental in the plan to demolish the Groveview Terrace public housing development and replace it with the same new multifamily housing, which will also enhance one of the gateways to our city. And whereas Mr. Poole passed away peacefully on April 20th, 2018, and is survived by his loving wife, April Riley Poole, and his children, Gwen Bell, C. Parker Poole III, stepchildren Thomas Phillips and April Hall, and 5 grandchildren. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the city of Fayetteville honors the life of Mr. Calvin Parker Poole Jr. and all the work he did for the betterment of our city. Adopted this day, Mitch Colvin, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Council. Okay, Councilmember Art.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and want to just inform everybody, the city has a new app. You know, information is power, and now the information and power is at your fingertips on your smartphone. Kevin Arata and the Fayetteville Communications Department have come up with this new app, and you can download it on your Apple device or your Android device. Simply go to your app store. It's a free app. And it provides you ease of information and access to all the city's departments and all the latest information. If you want to know what's going on with the Dogwood Festival, it's at the very top up there, the little top icon. If you need to talk to somebody here in the city government, you can click on that. And then if you want the police department, it'll connect you to the police department. So everything is right on your smartphone, just a simple tap, and you have access, and we want to encourage you to download it. And if you have a QRC reader, you can actually use the QRC code to quickly access it to your phone. But make sure you download the new city app today.
Thank you, Councilmember Art.
And it's free.
You can tell he's an announcer. All right, moving to the consent agenda, item 6.0. I'll defer to Councilmember Larry Wright.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Apologies, Mr. Wright. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yes, sir. Item 5.0 is the approval of the agenda. Council, I'll look to you for action.
Second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mayor Pro Tem.
if you allow, during our dinner meeting, we had discussion about moving item 8.03 in front of 8.01 under other items of business. That was Upstairs, I believe, that was a consensus, but it had to be put
So that
as
was a
part of the
friendly
motion.
amendment to the Hare-Wright motion.
Yes, Mayor.
I accept, sir.
You accept that, sir?
Yes.
All right. Council, we have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda with the amendments as mentioned and accepted by Mayor Pro Tem and accepted by Councilman Hare and Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for action. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent agenda. Councilmember Wright.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 6.07. We want to pull that for discussion.
Thank you. There's a motion by Councilmember Wright to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 6.07. There's a second by Councilmember Dawkins. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your vote. Madam Clerk, that's also unanimous. All right, Councilmember Wright?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. The adoption of the Capital Project Ordinance Amendment 2018-52, 2018-53 to transfer funds from the redevelopment project to the bridge replacement project for project management service for Louis Street Bridge replacement. And wanted to hear from Mr. Stone to give us a little bit in detail and elaborate on the project itself. Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Wright, rest of council. We had some good news earlier this week and last week that NCDOT is looking at funding this project for the city. They would fund it as part of their urban bridge program. It will go before the Board of Transportation next month in May with approval or final approval to be in June. And what that would do is fund this whole project at 80%, and with the city covering the other 20%. The CPOA in front of you is to take some of that, is actually to reallocate some funding for another project that was not being used and move it to this project so we can actually move forward in preparation for that to do some of the paperwork and some of the bureaucratic or some of the paperwork and the other things that needed. I apologize for that since I came from DOT. But what it is, that they have a process to get through the approval, and we needed some help with that on some project management through that to work through their process to make sure we can get that so we would actually be ahead of the game so when that comes forward we can move as quickly as possible.
Okay. So good news is always good. Thank you for that. So you were talking June, which was final approval for the project itself with the total combination of DOT and the city?
Yes, sir. That would come through the Board of Transportation's approval process to approve the funding so we can move forward with it. And after that process, we'd have to do a municipal agreement with the Department of Transportation, and that's part of the paperwork and things that would need to be done in preparation for that funding.
So can you give me, I know you don't know really the date of final project completion, but an average date?
Sure. Right now, the goal, given this, is to be at the December 2019 or early 2020.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Chris?
Mr. Stone, you indicated the Capital Project Ordinance Amendment gives us the ability to further paperwork in the process. Are we actually going to be doing anything on the bridge itself? Are we studying? Do we have design already, or will this open the door for us to begin design before we get the money in June? Specifically, what can we do now with this ordinance amendment here?
Yes, sir. With coming from the NCDOT, there's certain requirements that have to be met to move the project forward. And so in preparation for that, as part of the municipal agreement with the NCDOT, Department of Transportation, this helps us get a head start on that. So part of it, we cannot move forward with the design until we have that funding from them. And we want to make sure we have everything in place. So as soon as that money is available and funding is available, we can go ahead and move forward with that project.
So how much money is in this amendment? How much money is in this amendment?
Yes, sir. It's $200,000.
For paperwork?
Pretty much, yes, sir. Hopefully we won't use it all, but that was the estimate we had.
A lot of paperwork, Mr. Stone.
Yes, sir.
There's
environmental assessments. There's other things tied into that also.
So in June, when we get the word that the funds have been allocated, what's the step then? design plan?
No, sir.
RFP?
There will be an agreement had to be pushed through from
With
the
DOT?
city. Yes, sir. With the city, and then the agreement, and then from there we will move forward with the trying
What
to.
does move forward mean? RFP?
Yes, sir. To start the design process,
proposals?
and also one of the things we're discussing with DOT is we're still, if you'll recall, one of the things we were looking for previously was trying to do a design build type project.
Yeah.
So that moves everything. Again, it compresses the time a little bit so that we can speed it up.
You-
So we'll still be asking NCDOT if that
You
we can move
understand
forward.
why
that
I'm
process.
asking?
Yes,
this
sir.
question?
Absolutely.
Because that bridge is critical to people going in and out of that neighborhood, and I'm telling you, it's a long way out the back way, and the sooner we get this bridge repaired and fixed, not repaired, but replaced, the better we'll be. So I'm trying to get some appreciation of a timeline
Yes, sir.
as to when we might be able to get started on the actual bridge work. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, Mr. Stone, if I'm reading this correct, this is for hiring of the project management services,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
So just for
We can-
clarity, you're hiring the contractor that's going to oversee this project?
Yes, sir, to help us with moving forward with this process. Again, part of the issue is just the attempt to move, like Mr. Chris said, move as quickly as possible. We realize how much of an inconvenience this is for the community, and we're trying to do everything we can to speed up the process.
Gotcha. All right, good work. Glad to hear about that possibility. All right, Council, any more questions for Mr.
Yes,
Stone?
just one more question, Mr. Stone, or just a comment. We appreciate the work that you and the staff are doing toward the replacement of that bridge. And we know it's a tedious process. The $200,000 is to hire a firm, you said,
Yes, sir.
and then there's another $600 that we put with what DOT is giving. Is that correct?
Well, what'll be it'll whatever the final estimate comes out to be, we will contribute 20%. DOT will pay 80% of that. So we won't know the final cost until we actually get through with the actual project.
Okay, and I just wanted to echo the concerns of the citizens in Hollywood Heights as well, which I hear almost on a daily basis of the inconvenience there, and the hope that this project will stay on the cutting edge of getting it done as soon as possible. And I reconfirm with them every day that we're working on it. You know, it's a priority for our citizens, and we apologize for the inconvenience, but the safety factor is the most important thing at this time, because we don't want anyone to get hurt on that bridge. And they understand that, but the inconvenience as well, to know that we are working on it. So I just want to thank you and your staff, city manager as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Was that a motion, Councilmember Wright?
Yes, sir, that is a motion.
Sound like it. Can you repeat it for me? Not all of that. Just
not all that. Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we adopt the capital project ordinance amendment of 2018-52 and 2018-53 to transfer the funds from the redevelopment project to the bridge replacement project for the project management services for the Louis Street Bridge replacement.
Second.
As a motion by Councilmember Wright, seconded by Councilmember Art. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for action. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Item 7.01, the public hearing.
Mr. Harmon.
Public hearings. Individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless a previous arrangement. Oh, got lights from city attorney and manager.
Mayor, go ahead with your reading of the introduction, and then we'll need to take care of a procedural matter.
Okay, all right. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless a previous arrangement and a single spokesperson is designated, in which case a spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium and clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When the light changes from green to amber, you have 30 seconds remaining at the end of your allotted time, and the timer will ring. Madam Attorney, I'll go to you before we.
As previously discussed, Councilmember Williams will need to be excused from voting on item 7.01.
Okay, so council, we will need a vote at the advice of the city attorney to excuse Councilmember Williams from voting on item 7.01 before the discussion. Councilmember Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make the motion to excuse Councilmember Williams from item number 7.01.
So motion by Councilmember Dawkins, a second by Councilmember Wright for the excusal from item 7.01. Any discussion on the motion, council?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. If council is so inclined, we could take care of the excusal for 801, 802, and 803 at this time as well.
I accept that.
Okay, we'll go ahead and state it. She can't really amend your motion.
Make a motion to excuse Councilmember Williams from item number 7.01, 8.01, 8.02, and 8.03.
All right, so that motion has been amended to reflect those changes by Councilmember Dawkins, seconded by Councilmember Wright. Discussion on the motion, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I think we are making this motion on conduct. Is that right, City Attorney? And it's statute 168-75. Is that right, City Attorney?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion on the motion, on the Dawkins-Wright motion? All right, council, look to your vote. This is vote for excuse. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous, 9-0. All right, item 7.01. Well, excuse me, let me get back to business. So, Madam Clerk.
We have no speakers for this item.
So I will open and close that. Item 7.01.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. This item is a modification of an elevation offset that was previously approved as a condition of the development across the street. This is part of the parking deck hotel office building. The area that we're looking at here, this is what was all encompassed in the original conditional zoning. This is just a footprint of what will be out there in the future or is being built currently with the baseball stadium, and then what we're looking at tonight, parking deck hotel office complex here. The next slide you're going to see is kind of a perspective from the ballpark, looking at what this will eventually look like. This is not the side that this side is not part of the change that we're looking at tonight. That change only affects the Hay Street side. It's for the number 3 of the original conditions, which stated that at the 8th story it would have a 10-foot setback, and now I'll let you see the new kind of rendering of what the building should look like when it's complete there along Hay Street, and for a couple of different reasons. One, starting back in December when City Council approved adding an additional floor to the parking lot, that caused the developer to have to change some of the design standard or some of the design of the building and move the hotel and office buildings around a little bit on top of the parking deck. So now what you have, really the only part we're talking about in this, in changing this condition, is this small area here along the Hay Street frontage. At the top of the parking deck, there's about a 3-foot offset at this section. the section, this much larger section on that side has about a 40-foot offset. That's the area where the swimming pool area will be for the hotel. Another thing, you have this awning here at street level at the parking deck, so you really won't be able to see, if you're walking along the street there, you won't be able to see up from that area. You'll only be able to see the upper stories if you're away from the building, kind of like the perspective that you see here. We feel that this is a reasonable request to match an existing agreement. Request is fully appropriate given the redesign being the result of City Council's addition of another floor of parking. Further, the south side fenestration and elevation relief accomplishes the idea of the offset that was initially that condition that we're looking to take out. And the following, there will remain 36 use conditions that were previously approved. Again, we're just taking this one simple number 3 of the site-specific conditions out. Zoning Commission and staff have both recommended approval of this. Property is surrounded by heavy commercial uses and DT and CC zoning. Land use plan calls for downtown and open space. Redevelopment of this is a redevelopment of an underdeveloped commercial area. The potential economic benefit to the downtown as a whole. The understanding that the city has final approval authority over changes made to the site plan after adoption of this rezoning tonight. And change of one condition is necessary to accommodate the final design from the conceptual illustration that incorporates that additional floor to the parking garage. The remaining conditions of the site remain in place and full, and the city believes that this will create a high quality of built environment. Since you've already opened and closed your public hearing, are there any questions of staff?
I don't see any right now, Mr. Harmon.
Mr. Mayor, just one thing.
Yes, sir.
On your rendering where you show the building from the field,
Yes.
you got a Bowie's Creek Astro logo on the building?
We didn't do that. But yes, that's what they've got on there at the moment.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We don't have another name. They don't have another name to put there yet.
At least put Fayetteville on there.
I agree.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harmon. Council, I look to you for action on item 7.01.
Mr. Mayor, if it pleases the council, I'd move that we adopt a modification to the elevation offset condition that's been presented by staff this evening.
Second, sir. You can give it to Johnny. Give it to me.
All right. All right, I think I heard it this way. So we've got a motion by Councilmember Arp, second by Councilmember Wright. Was that a question, Mr. Dawkins? Oh, okay. All right. All right, Council, any discussion on the motion? All right, look to you for action. Madam Clerk, that's 9-0 unanimous. Item 7.02. Mr. Harmon, long time no see.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next case we have before you, P1817F, is a rezoning request from both neighborhood commercial and MR5 to an MR5 conditional zoning at the intersection of Hope Loop and Cliffdale Roads. You'll recall last month seeing this proposed rezoning for most of the same property. Council denied that rezoning request with the caveat that they would waive the 1-year waiting period for rezoning to come back to allow the applicant to come back as a conditional zoning, and they have done that at this point. So we are looking at the whole of the area highlighted in yellow. Part of it, again, is MR5 currently, part neighborhood commercial. It would all go to MR5 conditional. And this is kind of one of the conditions. It is conditioned on this attached site plan, but this is also to give you an idea of what what this would look like on top of the aerial photo, so you can kind of see how it interacts with some of the neighboring properties as well. Currently, under the current zoning, they are allowed to build 73 units on these properties, which is one more unit than they are asking for under the conditional zoning. So really tonight we're not, and they've already got all their funding approved through the state. So really tonight we're not looking at, this is not a rezoning to allow them to build this. This is a rezoning so that they can build it the way that they want to by spreading it out across the density out across the whole of the property. If they do not get approved tonight, they will have to build around 57 units in this area here, which is not in the hash mark. That's the current MR5 area. And then they would have another 16 units would be allowed down here in the hatched neighborhood commercial area. So again, it's not a question of this rezoning allowing them to do this. This is more of a question of, with this rezoning, it will allow them to spread the density out throughout. It'll allow them to keep the buildings at no more than 2 stories. If they have to go to the higher density and most of the development here in the northern portion, then you're probably looking at 3-story buildings or higher in that case. You do have Cliffdale Road here to the east and Hoke Loop here to the south. And I'm going to point out one thing as we start to, or a couple of things as we start to move through here. Right here, this entranceway on Hoke Loop, I'm going to show you that in a photo here in a moment, so just kind of keep that in mind. That's at the far western edge of where the development will be. The property just to the west here is owned by Aqua. It's actually where the water for the neighborhood comes from, so it's not while it is a residentially zoned property, it's not used as a residence currently. You can also see that where it does back up, this is the only area where it really backs up straight to other residential, and there is a little bit of a gap in between those, and most do have some wooded lots. There will be a fence line. You'll see a picture of what that might look like here in a moment, but it would be one across here as a privacy fence from that neighborhood. To the north here, we do have a daycare here at the intersection of Cliffdale Road. You'll see some photos of that too in a moment. And then, of course, this is the other secondary, probably, entrance exit up here on Hopper Road. Land use plan does call for part of this to be lower density residential, part of it to be commercial. This is a facsimile of what the fencing might look like. They're separating it from the neighbors. It would be an opaque fence, so you wouldn't see in between from one property to the other. This is the property as you're looking from Cliffdale Road. Hoke Loop is here on the left-hand side. As I mentioned a while ago, that entranceway, first, as you can see, as you turn onto Hoke Loop Road, you have a left-hand turn that goes into the Walmart grocery store. You have a straight that keeps you on Hoke Loop Road. And already as part of the commercial development for Walmart and what was going to go on this site, they have already put in a right-hand turn lane that goes all the way to that entrance that's already there. So a lot of the infrastructure as far as the roadways go is already in place. This is looking back from the other, this is Walmart would be to your right. This is that entrance way to your left. This is just showing kind of where the median ends, and it ends right as you get to that turn in, both to where this apartment complex would be and to Walmart. This is from the other. This is Cliffdale Road coming into the subdivision. There is a stoplight at this entrance as well. There is a median here that separates the two directions of traffic. Your daycare is just here to the left. A little better photo of the daycare, and the behind the daycare and kind of beside the apartments would come into this area as well. And then this is just showing you a little further up the entranceway. This road would be that secondary access to the development. Again, this is a conditional rezoning, and it has been, the owner has offered that the approval be based on that site plan that we looked at a moment ago, with review and approval by the city's TRC. Limit the number of units to 72. As I mentioned a while ago, they are already allowed to have 73 units on the property as it stands right now. And then opaque fencing similar to what you saw in the attached photo, and on the site plan to separate it from where it abuts the adjoining single family. Zoning Commission and staff do recommend approval of the conditional zoning. Proposed rezoning is consistent with prior actions of the City Council to identify this portion of the city as appropriate for mixed residential development. City's land use plan calls for low-density residential. However, trends in the area are for commercial development or higher-density residential along the major roadways, as well as multifamily to the east along Cliffdale. The property is surrounded by low-density residential. Part of this property is already zoned, as I said, MR5. Under the current zoning, again, actually 73 units would be allowed, so the 72, they definitely can do the 72 that they're asking for. And then the conditions that are read to you just a moment ago with the site plan limiting the amount of units and the fencing would also be part of this approval. And that concludes my presentation. And Mr. Mayor, if you would hold off, council would hold off any questions for staff until after your public hearing.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Mr. Harmon. This time we'll open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, you can call your first speaker.
Mayor, we have 8 speakers for this item. The first 3 speakers speaking in favour is Mr. William Owen.
Mr. Owen, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. It's good to see you again. And I thank you for this opportunity to let us speak again about this particular development. And I know that council appreciates and supports affordable housing because you just, in your consent agenda, approved funding for this development. Now, as Mr. Harmon said, what we're voting on tonight is not the approval to build the development. That's already permitted with the current zoning. What we're asking you to do is to approve the conditional rezoning so we can build a more spacious development that fits nicer in the neighborhood. All of the housing developments would be 2-story. There would be 6 residential buildings, 3 8s and 3 16s, plus a separate office and manager's office. If we have to go back to the current zoning, we would have 2 buildings that would need to be 3-story. and they would be pushed to the back part of the development. We feel like that would be less attractive to the neighborhood. We did take advantage of the waiver to let us go through the reconditioning, the conditional rezoning, and we met with the zoning commission, and they voted supporting our change. Last week, we met with TRC, and I have with us one of our speakers tonight is our engineer, Mr. Marvin Mercer, who can speak on any of the technical issues that they discussed during that particular meeting. I urge you to approve this request because we plan to go forward whichever decision you make, because the site has been identified as a very positive site. It has received a tremendous market study. It has received the highest possible points as far as a site score is concerned from North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. I think I'll conclude my remarks with that as I've run out of time, but I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. I want to say again, your vote is not to approve the construction, it's to approve the design. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Orr.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Marvin Mercer.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Again, my name is Marvin Mercer. I'm the engineer for the project. And as opposed to telling you what you've already heard a few times on the technical side, as the engineer of the project and as a technical designer, I would prefer to just answer any questions that you might have, whether now or after the rest of the public has a chance to speak. So if that pleases the council, that's the way we'd approach that.
Yes, sir. We'll entertain questions at the end of.
Okay. I'll just answer any questions you have relative to technical. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Harold Kidd.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, I appreciate you allowing us to come down here and talk with you about this. I've owned this land for many years, and we've been trying to find something that would fit and be more conducive to the neighborhood. At one time, all this was raw land, and we've had problems out there with homeless people. We've had to have people come in, and we've had to clear out the area various times. I own the daycare center down on the corner, and this land abuts to the daycare center. I've been there for, probably close to 30 years. And naturally, I have an invested interest down there, and I feel that this project would be conducive with the neighborhood. At one time, I sold the land across the street there to the Walmart people for the neighborhood grocery. And at the same time, we went together, Walmart and I, and upgraded the whole intersection to handle both developments. We spent quite an amount of money making sure that the North Carolina Department of Transportation would approve what we've done. And we've had, there's about at one time there's three means of ingress, egress. We put turn lanes in like Mr. Owens had indicated. We've got a right in and right out at one time off of Cliffdale Road, and then down at the end where you come into the back of the, where you come into the Walmart area, there's a means of ingress and egress there, and then also back on Hopper Road. There's been a lot of changes out here since we were there because, since I bought it, at one time Hopper Road just made a 90-degree turn. And so we put in turn lanes we feel we've got that corner taken care of to handle any type of development that would go there, including this. And personally, I believe it would be more conducive for the community to have just a two-level apartments there versus 3-level. And by spreading this out into the NC, you would naturally have more apartments located more across from the existing residential lots there. I appreciate it. I ask that y'all would approve this conditional rezoning as approved by your zoning commission. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Mr. Isaac Levy.
My name is Isaac Levy, and I reside at 6874 Buttermere Drive, and right there in Cliffdale West. And I guess one of the questions I want to ask of the builder, it was briefed that that the state has already, the funding has already been approved by the state. I just want to know whether that's correct or not. Also, it's been proposed and or said that the building of these units would not, and we can't stop the building of it, would not devalue the property of the individuals in Cliffdale West. There has already been at least 6 other accommodations of this type within a 3-mile radius. My question is how much of the affordable housing do we have to absorb? Can it not, well, and this is going to be built here, but we're just saying let the developers build on what has been approved for them to be built on, and let not it be pushed right on in. And I know there's a space or a regress or a buffer, but that buffer won't, it's said it would be sufficient to do what they need to do, but the residents there feel that it's encroaching even more on their privacy. This won't stop anything tonight, but our schools are already above capacity. Our high schools, 71st and Westover, are already using huts, and I don't think there's any proposal to build any more high schools. The Lake Rim Elementary School, one of the newer schools, right across from New Life Bible Church, that's already filled to capacity also. I came to Fayetteville by virtue of the military, and I looked around for where I wanted to reside, and I decided to reside over there because the area wasn't as congested as it is now, and getting even more congested. We know that Fort Bragg will keep Fayetteville forever young for more apartment dwellers and, I didn't say that correctly. More people in our area, right in our backyard, will make it for a person like me who's worked 2 jobs, retired from the military and still working another job, trying to reside comfortably, trying to get away from all the traffic and everything else. Not that I dislike people. Take a little bit away from me that I've worked all my life to acquire. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Levy.
Our next speaker is Mr. Marion Garvin.
Madam Clerk, all of these are in opposition, right?
Yes, sir.
All of those in favor have spoken, correct?
Yes, the first 3 were in favor.
Mr. Garvin, welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I thank you all for allowing me to speak to you. Unique thing about the property that's being discussed today is that 4 people are saying that we need to do it. And the people you see sitting in the back of the building say we don't want it. We've gone through all the political procedures we can. We went to the rezoning committee, and they decided 4 to zip. The first time 2 to 2, second time 4 to 0, that they would allow it to come back to City Council. Now it's back in your court again, and we ask you again not to allow it to happen. If they want to build 72 units or 56 units, let them build it. Let them build it on 2 stories. But right now, our problem is we need something in the community that benefits us. I've lived there for 25 years, and living there 25 years, I deserve the rest of my life to be done in peace. And I ask that you not allow this property to be changed, rezoned to where they can build an apartment. Now, I may sound a little hesitant and a little rushed with what I'm saying to you, because this is not normally what I do. If I was in my venue, I'd say it a little different. But I want to say to you this is not what we need. Give us what we need. And I understand right now that Mr. Owen said, this is what we do, what we would do. Put it in his backyard. And then tell me this is what you need and this is how it's going to work out. Until we can get that kind of opinion from them, we don't agree. Now, Mr. Kidd and I, we've talked about different things, even putting the Walmart there. We've talked numerous times about it. But the point is right now that we don't need it, and it doesn't benefit our community. You know, we're putting it in the backyards of some people. They're going to put up a fence to keep the sound barrier from going in their backyard. I sent to you guys a copy of the my concern as far as the community itself. But you mean to tell me go to a fence in your backyard with traffic going through all times of night, your privacy is gone, and you're supposed to enjoy this concept because they say there's a need for housing in the Fayetteville community. We have 8 low to middle income housing already existing within a half-mile radius of where we're about to build this one. When is enough enough? And, you know, those who are deciding for what we need are not the ones going to live where we are. So until you live where we are and tell us what we need, I disagree with you wholeheartedly. And thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Jason Davis.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jason Davies of 6873 Fern Creek Place. I have something for the council members to look at. This is a petition from the Cliffdale West area.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor and council members, so this petition here has only been around for 4 days. That was when I found out about this proposed thing. I immediately went around and said and asked everybody in the Cliffdale West area if they even knew about it. And 98% of the people that I talked to didn't even know about it. And as soon as they heard it, they said no. The entire community said no, we do not want this here. The area that they're wanting to put it in has no opinions from the people that live there. In addition, some of my other community members bring up some points. The Housing Finance Authority gives a perfect score to virtually all of its applicants. So of course they're going to say, yep, that's a perfect score. Well, if you get it 100% of the time, then there you go. It's always going to be a perfect score. The next is funding. From what I gather, funding is still not approved until August for it. So, you know, let's talk in truths. One, let's talk in truths as far as they want to help the community. They never even talk to the community that they want to help. And that is a big issue if they've never even said anything to the community that they are trying to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Antoinette Graves.
Good evening again, Mayor and all the members. Antoinette Graves, 6817 Woodmart Drive. You know, during this week I wrote a whole letter that I would like to read. But as I sat there and I listened at the different things people said, you already know our concerns. But not one time has anybody ever made us feel like they understand what we're getting ready to face, our privacy being gone. No one has ever mentioned, how do you feel about it? Or want to understand what it feels like for us to have to change our environment. I'm not saying that any of us are not used to change, because whenever you're with the military or you've been around the military, you get used to change. A lot of us have, my husband served 21 years in the military, and all that time I always had to stay up under someone or over someone or really close. When I bought my home here in 1994, we purchased because of the suburban feeling. Quiet, it's peaceful. And also that it wasn't busy. But now when I look out, I'm looking at my community turning into a city. It's almost like a little city. We have a Walmart. You know, I'm driving the other day. We're getting ready to get a Cliffdale Commons. You know, I think our end of town is growing way too fast, and it's getting a little bit too crowded for those of us who had to live up under other people for so many years. And now that we're retired, we want to live in peace. We want to have our quietness. We don't want to have to face the traffic, the noise. We already get enough of that now running behind my house on Hoke Loop. I am one of the residents where the apartments will go on the back of my property. And one thing I did write that I do want everyone to understand is that as long as you pay taxes, your property will never be your property. It will never be yours. So please, we only ask y'all is to let us live the rest of whatever we have left here on this earth in peace at Woodmart Drive. And what I did, because I got a little bit tired of people coming up just showing you graphs with nothing on it. So I did my own graph, and I would like for you to take a look at it so you can see what the property looks like behind Woodmart Drive. So if I could, would you look? That property behind our residence is not very huge at all. And if you put a road back there with apartment buildings, and then you got to a lot for the sidewalks, there's an electric pole that sits right in the middle of that property on the end as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, our final speaker is Ms. Annie Rose.
We'll get it back to you. Someone will bring it back to you, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Annie Rose. I live at 6837 Woodmark Drive. And the thing I'm more concerned about is privacy. I understand they said they're going to put in a fence. I think they said a 6-foot fence. Well, somebody in an apartment building can look down. And I'm used to walking around my house with my blinds open and whatnot. I feel they can look down. I don't even know that they're looking at me. So I feel as though my privacy is taken away from me. My main concern is the privacy of my house. That's why I bought it. I like the area. It's quiet. And I feel with a big apartment building coming there, my privacy is going to be taken away from me. Thank you.
May we have no further speakers?
Thank you. This time, we'll close the public hearing. Council, as we prepare to ask our questions, we will do that during the discussion phase, if that's okay. Right. Which will come after a motion. Okay. So, Councilmember Hare?
That was a question, sir.
I got the motion.
Okay. All right. Let me defer to Mayor Pro Tem, and I'll circle back to you.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin and council. You know, based on the input from the citizens of Cliffdale West who've been out there for multiple years, they've asked me to listen to both sides and then asked me to vote against or recommend voting against the rezoning. So based on the citizen input, my motion is to deny the rezoning request, the conditional rezoning request as presented tonight.
Second.
That was a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Moan, second by Councilmember Crisp. Any discussion on the motion or questions? And this motion is to deny, correct? All right. All right, council, ask for your votes. Motion to deny.
Okay, okay. Clear your
All
board.
right. All right.
I'm just saying clear your board then.
All right. Quick on the trigger, man. All right. So Councilmember Waddell and then Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to very quickly, I have a question and then a comment if possible. If the individuals who spoke in opposition, if you all wouldn't mind just coming up really quickly. So while you're coming up, let me say two things. First of all, I want to say to the young lady who said that you want to feel like somebody hears you, I want to tell you that I do hear you. And I do hear your concern. And one of the things when we purchased our home, one of the things that we intentionally did was buy where we knew they couldn't build, because something like that would have devastated me. So I understand. And the second comment I want to make before I ask you guys a question, I want to say something that my grandfather, I just want to share this with y'all. And I don't want it to sound harsh or inconsiderate, because I'm telling you, I hear you and I feel you. But my great-grandfather used to always say to me, who owns the land holds the power. And it's an unfortunate reality in the world we live in, because very rarely will a landowner come to us and ask us what we want them to do with their land. My question to you is, I want to make sure that you understand before we make this vote that those of you who came and spoke in opposition understand that regardless of the way we vote, because he who owns the land holds the power, they will likely still build this apartment complex. And when we talk about an issue of privacy, we're talking about, when we talk about that 6-foot fence and those 2-story versus 3-story, somebody on the 3rd floor can see a lot farther than somebody on the 2nd floor. And so I just want to make sure that you all understand that the likelihood of this being built does not necessarily hinge upon a yes or no vote from us. What hinges on a yes or no vote from us is how it will be built. And I just want to make sure that I know that you got that before we go into this vote, because I am supportive of your position as long as I know that you know what you're asking for. So that's a yes, we got it.
Do you want to reply to what you just said?
Absolutely.
What you're asking us for is this, is that number one, if you put up a 3-story building, to look down the road at an apartment as opposed to look straight down is a big difference. When you add the part down Hoke Loop Road, you will look down into the house. When you add the part that's on when you add it on Hopper, you're going to look down the road. That's the difference.
Okay, and you understand that as it is now, it's zoned neighborhood commercial, which means something else can still go there.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. I did have a question before, Ms. Jensen. Not for you guys. Thank you. Mr. Harmon, I had put in for a traffic study for Cliffdale. You may or may not be privy to it. I know that's part of Mr. Stone's territory.
Right.
But what will be the traffic impact of an additional 72, 73 units and families and vehicles coming into an area where it already has traffic issues?
Well, those traffic issues were actually looked at when the road was widened a couple of years ago for Walmart. Like Mr. Kidd said, they did do a traffic impact study then for commercial development along this lot, plus residential. And this is what came out of it, was the improvements that were made at that time. And so I don't foresee, even if a new impact study was done, it'd actually probably be less of an impact for this to be residential than it would be for it to be commercial. But I don't see any additional road changes probably that would come out of something like that.
All right, and finally, before I go to Ms. Jensen, Crisp, and then Wright, if we do not approve the recommended zoning request change, then they have to put more units, they have to spread them out, so the density is less, right? And so what were they proposing to use if they were going to compact the units with two-story? What were they going to use the additional space to do if it wasn't for new units?
Well, that's a good question. At this point, they haven't proposed anything.
Because I can imagine that they're asking for a change to build less unit to put more trees. So were there plans to put additional housing that we're not being privy to?
No, if it's approved the way that it's before you tonight, it would be for 72 units, no more than that.
Okay.
No single-family housing, no other type of housing. It's just 72 units on those properties.
All right, so I got several questions here. Councilmember Jensen, and then Crisp.
Oh, okay, Mr. Harmon, I know that we're belaboring this because we keep asking the same question, but I'm going to ask it again. So 72 apartments is what they're looking to build. Regardless of the way we vote, 72 apartments are probably going to end up being built. If we do not approve this, the 72 apartments will be 3 stories high, and this land will be, we don't know what will happen to it in the future. So the way I'm looking at it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I see 4 homes that it is in their backyard. Is that what you're seeing?
4 that it immediately touches.
So then I have a question. Has anybody gotten in touch with these 4 owners from the builder side? Have y'all talked to these 4 owners? Because regardless of what is voted on tonight, the people in the back, it's going to affect them, and it's going to be built. It's the 4 owners up here that they're either going to have housing in front of them, this housing in front of them, or they're going to have commercial in front of them. I'm going to piggyback off of Councilwoman Waddell. I'm up here on this podium right today for this exact same thing that happened to my neighborhood. So I truly understand what is going on. And the case that you have right now is what is the best of, you've got you don't want either, but you just got to decide on what is the best. And my concern is if it goes up 3 stories, you're still going to have the same amount of people, but now you're able to spread them out and not have the same amount of people in a little area and then build something else and then get a whole new set of people. So that's where I'm kind of questioning and having my tug of war. But that was my question, and thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. We have Councilmember Crisp.
Mr. Harmon, I am very familiar with Hope Loop Road. I was on there as late as this Saturday. And what I do know, and I've been in that Walmart out there, as you come out and you look straight across from the entrance exit for the Walmart Center on Hoke Loop, I'm looking directly across at that stub out, is that right?
Correct.
They don't see on the screen what we're looking at right now. Can you put that on the screen?
I cannot. It has the control room in the back.
Oh, okay.
Control
Anyway,
goes up.
Anyway, there it is. Here's my concern. That stub out to the extreme left of the screen, right there. DOT is not going to put a light there, is that correct?
Most likely right now they would not.
Okay.
Again.
And what I see you turn right to go on Hoke Loop Road. You turn right to go in there. That will be an entrance and exit from the housing development. And so if it's an entrance, it will also be an exit. And people coming out that want to go to work in Fort Bragg and Fayetteville and other places are going to try to cut across those 2 lanes of Hoke Loop Road there and make a left turn on the Hoke Loop to go to the light at Cliffdale. That's going to be an extremely dangerous place in the morning and in the late afternoons.
Well,
and I want to know what the traffic analysis on this said what?
Well, it said that it could carry the capacity that we're looking at here when it was redesigned a few years ago. Keep in mind also, this is not the only entrance exit to the development.
I understand.
There is another stoplighted exit here. You come out of development here, turn on the Hopper, and it goes straight to a stoplight over here on the Cliffdale as well. So it's not like you've got all of the traffic coming out at this one point and everyone trying to make a left-hand turn across traffic. That would be, your decision as to which way to come out, but it's not a big difference coming out.
But if it's approved, follow me now. Mm-hmm. If it's approved where the neighborhood commercial is right now, and they spread those apartments there, do you think those apartment residents are going to, that are in there where that neighborhood commercial is now, you think they're going to go all the way over to the other way to get out? No.
Most likely.
They're going to come right out of it right there where they live.
No, but that's the way that this was designed, was for people to come out right there.
Okay.
Good. Councilmember Chris?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Wright?
Okay, Mr. Harmon, I have several questions for you, and you can help me out. And then to the residents, I appeal to you to really understand what you're asking for, and then we'll make our decision. But whatever way it goes, there's going to be apartment builders over there. But the long-range goals for us tonight, because I know you had to leave your homes to come here to sit through this, and so I know that you are passionate, you're serious about your neighborhoods and the appeals that you made. So the question, Mr. Harmon, that I heard 2 informations about the low-income housing in the area already. Someone stated there's 8 within 1/2 mile. Someone said there was 5 within 3 miles. Can you give me the accurate number of low-income apartments in that area and the mileage from where they are? Because we're talking about putting 78 more units into an area within, say, 3 to a mile and a half, where you already have 6 to 8 units. Help me out to understand that first.
Well, first, let me caution you on that, going in that direction, because a decision based on...
Can you speak into your mic, sir?
Yeah. I caution you from going in that direction, because a decision based on the tenants is not a decision. You should be looking at the uses of the property, not the user.
Don't tell me what I should be looking at. I'm asking you a question. No. Wait a minute.
Legally.
I understand that, okay. But answer my question. And I'm not trying to pin you up. I'm trying to help the residents to understand the decision that we're about to make. And a lot of that is due to the traffic, the safety factors, and things of that nature that Mr. Chris talked about. So just answer my question, and we'll go from there.
Well, the answer that I would give you is I don't know how many low-income developments there are within any distance of that, because that's not something we take into account. We're looking at this particular use on this particular property, not...
Well, let me rephrase it, Mr. Harmon. Yeah. I think what he's saying is affordable housing. Mr. Jim and the proponents for this project emphasized affordable housing and how the city of Fayetteville prioritized that, because he referenced the earlier vote. So are you familiar with, or that may be a community development question, Ms. Block, are you familiar with the number of affordable housing in and around there?
I do not, because again, as planning staff, that's not what we look at. We look at is just multifamily housing.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave that one alone right now, but that's important. But what I need the residents to understand, based upon the zoning, those that, will you all stand up that came from that area, that came tonight to support this venue? Okay, thank you. You can be seated. And I just need you to understand that the apartments are going to be built. And the last young lady that came up talked about privacy. So what the builders are requesting is that we vote tonight to spread it out, that there will only be 2 levels. If we vote against that, there will be 2 units with 3 levels. Am I right, Mr. Harmon?
There's a good possibility of that, since they've not designed for some. This is what they designed for so far.
Can I talk to the designer? Can you come back up, sir? And I'm thinking, this is what I heard. One of the, I don't know if it was the first gentleman that came up, but what I heard him say, that there will be 2 units in the back of the project, that they will be forced to put 3 units on if we don't vote tonight for the project. What you're trying to do is put 2 units so they will be lower, and someone mentioned that earlier, that it's easier to see from 3 units over than it is for 2 units, understanding that something's going to go in that area. And also, before you speak, that if we don't vote, if we vote against this tonight, that there will be properties there that they can build anything they want to commercial after this, and they will come back to us again. So think about what you want to do. So if we vote tonight for it, then that's it that could be built there. If we vote against it, then there'll be other things that could be built, if I'm not mistaken, on a commercial level on those in that area later. Yes, sir. Help me out.
You've got quite a bit going on there, sir. But let's, if I can, just kind of take it in chapters, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
You can see what I'm on your screen, what I'm seeing here. Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
So, okay.
Can we show that can we show that? There you go.
So again, this is the section in the yellow that is the commercial, and this is the MR5. Okay. We have done a site plan. We can't come up and say we're going to do something if we can't do it. So we have prepared a site plan. We did not supply it to the city. We don't need to. But we know we can build what we say we can build in the 72 units. So to answer your question is, this building will go to 3 stories. This building will go to 3 stories. You see these 2 buildings, this one and this one, okay? How we will do that is that currently that's a 2-story, 16-unit building. That's a 2-story, 16-unit building. This is a 2-story, 8-unit building. This is an 8. This is a 2-story 8. That's a 2-story 16. What we'll basically do is take one of these 8-unit buildings and put on top of this one and this one. Does that make sense? 4 up here, 4 over there. This building will still be there, which is we want to make sure you understand is this building in the site plan that we can build, it's all about the density on the 2 parcels. So I just take and that's what I think Mrs. Waddell was trying to get to, right. And I think also Ms. Jensen, I think all of you are trying to get to that. Having said that, this building wouldn't move either way on either plan. Right. But there's a little bit more to that, if it's okay to continue answering, because you had multiple questions there. So having said that, this building would stay the same either way. It's just that one of these buildings would move to, if you will, the top of this building and the top of that building. So actually one of the residents said that the 3-story building would be facing this way and this way. You're absolutely correct. Those buildings will be facing, if you will, down Cliffdale and across here. But this 2-story building is still going to be there. So the person who's concerned from these lots, that's 2-story building is still going to be there. We went through TRC. There is a fence shown from this point all the way around and all the way around to here. You saw the picture of the fence. Additionally, in the TRC, one of the things that was brought up is because this is multifamily next to single family, these are your rules, city's rules. I think it's a type D buffer they required. It's a thicker buffer. It's a wider buffer of plantings. We'll have to do that either way, no matter which one of these two ways we go. There's been a lot of talk about traffic. There was a TIA done. It was done when all these improvements were made. And I spoke to the gentleman at the DOT. So we went through TRC last Wednesday, and that's all taken care of in there. And he looked at our site plan, and his name is Troy Baker. He works for NCDOT locally here. And he said, Marvin, there's not going to be a problem because, A, we're taking this little cut that's already there out. This would be the one they would want us to use. As far as the light goes, that's something that would happen in the future. And if there's any more questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But I just wanted to clarify a couple of things there.
Thank you very much. You clarified that. My question would be to the residents just simply, do you want 3 stories or 2? I know you don't want nothing, but that's not going to happen. The simple question tonight is, yes, ma'am. Come up. Come up to the mic. Because we got to move.
All right, council, this is the discussion phase. We have motions on the floor, so we're going to try to entertain as many questions as possible, but 2 rounds of talking. A couple of us are already on the second or third, but yes, ma'am.
Sir, we do understand where they want to put the location. It's not in our back door. So if they put them up on the hill, just like you said, they're going to be looking at Cliffdale or they're going to look at Hopper. They won't be able to look in my backyard. So I think we do know what we're asking for. And that is not to have apartment buildings behind our houses. And we asked the question, what worse could go there? I mean, the property is very small, so.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Councilmember Wright. Councilmember Hare.
But this is what we do. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Harmon, please. I asked council to be a little patient with me as I was with all of them with their questions. I heard Hope Loop Road, and I saw it. I've traveled it. I went out there the other day looking at this. I know it has the turning lane. But, and I asked during the last meeting when this came up, what about a turning lane on Cliffdale? What's the process? Where are we with that? Or they are with DOT?
Yeah, as far as a turning lane on Cliffdale, I mean, there's already turning lanes, and Cliffdale was widened here just a few years ago. That's why it's got the new sidewalk and everything
that
through there.
That supports the project?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's...
Now, one thing that someone alluded to it, I think it was the engineer, and I had already made notes to it being a part of the UDO committee. That's something I really want us to look at is buffering, because I was hoping that we could, I didn't know it was called a D buffering, and I'm not 100% sure what that is, but that's something I really want us to look at as expanding that. Once I find out exactly what the debuffering is, I would love for us to have the widest buffering as we can, other than just the privacy fence, the bushes, the trees, whatever that case may be.
Well, the type D, just to kind of answer that question, yes, the type D buffer, there's 2 options for that, and that's the most privacy. That's the most private buffer that the city has in our ordinance.
Explain it.
So one option is with the 6-foot privacy fence and a 10-foot vegetated buffer after that, and that's what I like that's what they're proposing here. Okay. Is it would have that. The other is a 25-foot buffer but no privacy fence, and so you're just looking at there's a schedule of trees and shrubs and stuff that you have to plant so many for every 100 feet. But you're not looking at any type of solid fencing or any fencing at all.
I would like for us to consider the debuffering with the privacy fence, but also to consider to the builders whenever they go in there, a lot of that area is wooded, still wooded, isn't it? Yeah. That we actually keep the original vegetation if possible. And there is a lot better, a lot supportive as a buffer than when you go in there, clear cut it, and then you go back trying to plant little trees that take 20, 30 years to grow.
And that actually is what we try to get. If there's, growth already there, if it meets the thickness of the type D buffer, we don't require them to, cut down what's there to replant stuff. We try to encourage them to use the, the vegetation that's already there naturally.
So as we go forward, Mayor, probably on the second motion, if it goes the way I think that it's going to go, I want us to make sure that we make sure that the debuffering is a part of.
So there's a motion on the floor to deny.
Right.
And so if that motion fails or doesn't move forward, then you're proposing an alternative motion with restrictions.
Well, at least with the buffering
And
that is actually stated. I didn't see it in our conditions.
Well, it's not stated as a condition because that's
All right.
just a part of the transitional
Okay, so we have a
standards
motion on
of
the floor,
city.
Councilmember Hare. We'll address that when time comes if necessary. Councilmember Arpin and Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Harmon, how long has Mr. Kidd owned this property?
You would have to ask Mr. Kidd that one, but it's been quite a while.
Mr. Kidd, how long have you owned this property?
I would say probably 25 years.
Okay. Mr. Harmon, this property that is in question is zoned neighborhood commercial district, right?
Correct.
And as I read this, it says it accommodates small-scale, low-intensity, convenience-type retail and service used to serve the needs of the immediately surrounding neighborhoods. Residential uses are encouraged on the upper floors of non-residential businesses. What does that mean?
Well, it means that there could be, at one point, Mr. Kidd was looking at doing maybe there was a Family Dollar that was very close to coming here at the intersection, went through TRC quite a few times, and then he also looked at possibly doing an office complex here on this part. Well, as a second story, that office complex could have had residential units.
Are there height restrictions on those buildings? Can it be 3 stories? Can it be 4 stories?
I'm trying to remember the exact height, but it can be, I know, at least 3 stories in the neighborhood commercial.
So it could be 1-story retail, 2 stories residential?
It could have, yeah, or could still.
And then, based on the density of that property, how many businesses could go into that property? Because we're talking about small businesses, right?
When you're looking at retail, it's a little different.
Excuse me, I get to ask my questions. I've been waiting patiently just like everybody else. When I finish, we can wrap up.
With retail development and office space is a little different than it is for residential homes. But you're looking at standard, in a strip mall, maybe 1,000 to 1,500 foot space. So if you look on that, that just this wing part of it is, I believe, around a little over 1.5 acres or so. And so, you could have a strip mall with 8 or 10 units in there.
And the associated traffic in and out.
Yeah, and the associated traffic, plus another maybe retail center here at the corner as well.
So as I understand it, with the MR5, they can build to 72 units. They can come down here and they can build non-commercial, neighborhood commercial to include residential on top of it, which would be additional people. Is that correct?
So right now, on the total acreage out here, they could do 73 units. They could do 57 on the MR5 portion. They could do another 16 units of residential down here on the neighborhood commercial portion.
If they just do residential.
If they just do residential.
But what if they do neighborhood commercial with like condos or apartments on top?
They could have, I'm not sure, I don't recall what the exact density is. If there's a density difference, if it's connected to commercial or not, but no more than the 16 units that they can do there.
Okay. Mr. Harmon, thank you. First off, I hear very loudly the citizens, and I too live in a neighborhood that has commercial property adjacent to it. The answer here is coming up with the best solution, and using the wisdom of Solomon how to best split this baby, because at the end of the day, I don't think either side's going to be real happy, but we've got to offer the best solution. So thank you.
All right, Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the real agenda tonight is to look at the buffer. In the 2 units, there's 10 feet of buffering space. In the 3 units, there's 25 feet of buffering space. The residents are worried about the buffering space, the distance between them and the apartment complexes. So they're wanting to stay 3 units, but have more space between them and the building. I understand that. The developer wants more space to spread out because of cost construction. It costs a lot more to build 3 stories rather than 2. So what we're looking at tonight is a cost versus convenience. So we have to make our decision based on that. Thank you.
All right, council, this issue has been discussed and rediscussed and rediscussed. Time for action. All right. Mayor Pro Tem, can you restate your motion? It was the Moan Chris motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, the motion was to deny the rezoning with the conditions, the conditional rezoning. And I think it's crystal clear that the residents of Cliffdale West know exactly what they're asking for here. They've come up, they've reaffirmed that they would prefer us to deny this rezoning, and they'll go from there. So that was the motion, is to deny the rezoning.
Thank you. And that was seconded by you, Councilmember Chris. All right, council, look to you for votes for denial. Madam Clerk, that is 5-5 to deny. Those voting in favor of denial was Crisp, Wright, Colvin, Moan, and Waddell. Those voting in opposition of the denial was Williams, Arp, Jensen, Hare, Dawkins. Motion fails. All right.
I'll ask the attorney what that means, because my understanding, that means that the rezoning request is dead based on the vote, 5-5.
Madam Attorney, want to clarify that? So the motion deny failed, so therefore it didn't pass either, right?
That's correct, and so council can put another motion on the floor or move on.
All right. Councilman Dawkins?
Mr. Mayor, please, the council make a motion to approve the rezoning of neighborhood commercial MR5 mixed residential MR5 CZ mixed residential conditional zone located northwest corner, intersection Hope Loop Road, Cliffdale Road, containing 6.4 acres, being the property of Harold J. and wife Kidd and Harold Kidd.
All right. That is a motion by Councilmember Dawkins for now approval. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
Mr. Mayor, we get 5 seconds. I'll second the motion, but I'd like to amend it.
Okay.
I would like to amend it to include an additional buffer between the section of the NC and the 4 residential properties potentially impacted by line of sight.
Do you accept that amendment, sir?
Yes, I accept that.
For that amendment, the owner of the property would have to be in agreement with that condition.
So that was a conditional motion, is that correct? Because I'm sure he can't speak off the fly right now, can he?
Well, with that motion, the only way for it to pass would be for that to be part of it, and without the owner's consent, that condition can't be put in. So if Mr. Owens wants to come up and...
Sure. Mr. Kidd, would you mind coming up and addressing that?
I don't see why not.
I will agree to the amended of the motion. Let y'all talk to that.
To be clear, you're talking about this area right here.
That's affirmative.
You want the fence and the 25-foot buffer in that area right there.
maximum of a buffer as we can get and capitalizing on existing vegetation that's above the fence to block line of sight.
Certainly, we can agree that, we'll not take down any vegetation that we can save. We do that anyway. And then with the fence, and then as much buffer as we can put there, we'll put buffer from the back of curb all the way over. There'll be no sidewalk on that side. We can put the sidewalk on this side, and that'll buy us another, a few feet of buffer there.
6 to 8 feet.
Yep.
So just so I'm clear on your motion, are you going to revise some plans for us to see that? There's no specifics to what.
I'm not an attorney, nor I'm the father of an attorney, which means I owe a lot of money to a university. But
if I can,
I'm trying to be funny, but if you make it a condition, then we can't get through permits without it, right?
Okay. And Mr. Mayor, that's consistent with what we've done with some other neighborhoods where we've expanded the size of the buffer, and that's been documented and part of the process of their getting approval.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor by
If I could, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
There's the pine trees across there is probably 25, 30, 40 feet high, right on the property line that could be left there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's what
All
we're
right.
expecting.
So there's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins. By Councilmember Arp. It was seconded by Dawkins.
No, I made the motion and
motion
I
is seconded
his.
by Arp. Okay.
Discussion.
And we are at discussion phase. Councilmember Chris.
Yes, Mr.
A brief discussion phase.
What I just heard is disturbing, because I heard the gentleman say they would eliminate sidewalks on one side of the street. Remember now, our UDO requires sidewalks on both sides of the street. So we can't substitute a buffer in place of sidewalk. That motion creates some problems with the UDO.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this body has the ability to waive the UDO, and we're talking about putting a sidewalk between a parking lot in a neighborhood and a fence.
That's right.
So I don't see this as an issue. I think we can certainly solve that.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion to approve with the conditions? Councilman Wright.
Just to be clear, Mr. Mayor, at this point, we will be approving the request of the builder, which will give us all of the buildings at a 2-story level, and will expand those buildings as planned originally, but in addition to an additional buffer and trees left 30 to 40 feet high. And that's what we're voting for at this point. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's pretty good.
Councilman Chris.
Mr. Mayor, I want to make perfectly clear to this council that if we approve this to eliminate a street requirement as required in the UDO, every developer in Fayetteville will demand the right to build their facilities with one sidewalk on one side of the street.
Back to the old days. All right. All right, council, call it for question. So this motion is to approve with the conditions we've discussed. Is that a vote, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is a motion to approve. Is everyone voted? Okay. Madam Clerk, that motion carries 7-3. Those voting in opposition, Councilman Crisp, Colvin, and Moan. Those voting in favor, Councilman Williams, Arp, Wright, Jensen, Hare, Dawkins, and Waddell. Motion carries. We'll take a 5-minute break.
I'm glad I heard that buffer in there, 'cause
Session item 8.01, resolution for approving and authorizing the sale and issuance of limited obligation bonds, execution and delivery master trust agreement.
Point of order, I think we
Oh.
moved.
Gotcha, thank you. Item 8.03 was amended by council in the approval of the agenda for the adoption of city council policy concerning hearing on petition and a motion for removal of council member. Is that legal? Madam Attorney?
Which one? Mayor, members of council, at the city attorney's office, at the direction of council, prepared and submitted to the council a proposed council policy to adopt rules and procedures to be used in the motion proceeding. We sent that out on Friday afternoon. Those proposed rules and procedures were created for the purpose of ensuring that Mr. Williams receives a fair and impartial hearing that is conducted in an orderly manner, applying the standards set forth in the law. As a courtesy, we sent the proposed rules to Councilmember Williams' attorney, Mr. Chris Poppy, and provided him an opportunity to provide feedback. Upon obtaining Mr. Poppy's feedback, we incorporated some of his changes and rejected others. Therefore, what you have before you tonight is an amended proposed rules and proceedings. Specifically, let me talk about some of the things that we accepted. Mr. Poppy wanted to make changes as it related to the specifics to the petition process. He wanted to specify when and for what purpose the hearing might be continued, clarify the burden of proof and persuasion, and there were some typographical errors that we caught as well. And so we did accept those changes, and you will see those. Hopefully all of you got a color copy. Those changes, many of those changes are reflected in blue. We did not accept his changes as they related to altering the grounds for removal of a council member, the basis for removal of a council member. He added some other layers to the hearing process. And also, it was our opinion that some of those changes would make the process and the hearing more complex than was required under the law. And finally, there were some other changes that we felt like increased the likelihood of this matter being reversed or overturned on appeal. So we did not accept any of those changes. Finally, we thought that Mr. Poppy made some very good, while we didn't necessarily accept his proposed language, we did think that he raised some very important questions, and we made some changes as it related to ensuring that council members hearing the petition are not impermissibly biased. We made some changes to ensure that the council's decision is based solely upon the evidence presented at the hearing. And we also made some changes as it related to the discovery procedures. We had proposed a process whereby we would exchange information, a timeline for doing that. Mr. Poppy had some concerns about that, and so we made some changes to try to simplify that process. All of those changes are before you tonight for your consideration. Brandon and I are here to answer any questions and receive direction from the council.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Council, any questions for City Attorney? Believe we asked them all the last round, so you might be lucky. All right, so council, look to you for action for the attorney. Councilman Crisp.
Mr. Mayor, if there are no questions, I move to adopt the procedures for conducting the hearing on petition and a motion to remove a council member from office, number 115-19, as has been amended.
Okay, it's a motion by Councilmember Chris. I see Councilmember Williams' light is, I don't think you're able to, discussion, yeah. I'll come back to you on that.
Mayor Colvin, I second the motion.
That's a motion by Councilmember Chris, second by Councilmember Waddell. Discussion phase of the motion on the floor. Councilmember Williams, I think you can participate in the discussion but not to vote, correct, Madam Attorney?
That's correct.
All right, yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. He snapped around there. I just want to get kind of clear here. What we're doing is creating a policy to put in place after something that's been done or said. We're putting a policy in place to go back to that period in time. Is that right?
I don't quite understand your question. Is that from
we're
Ms.
creating a
McDonald?
policy, like say if I'm just using an example here. If you cannot turn right on a red light on December 1st, but you put a policy in place that say you can turn right on a red light in February, it incorporates everybody that turned right on that red light.
Retroactively.
Retroactive, yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Turner, you have any answer for that? I guess his question is this, are we now creating a policy in which is applying to previous, this is the adoption of a document, so can you explain
The adoption
this a
of
little
the
bit?
document is the rules and procedures that would be used in the A-motion proceeding that will come forward within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and so for those that are not as familiar with the procedural part of it, this is a procedural necessary step as you prepare a complaint to move this process along. Is that correct?
Right, we're proposing rules that the council would use as a part of the hearing process.
As a basis, okay. And I guess his question was, do those rules would apply retroactively as we go through the emotion process? I guess that's what you're asking, sir. Right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may, and correct me if I'm wrong, as I understood his...
I'm asking, so...
Well, that's what I'm saying. As I understood his question, the question was, if the rules were that I could not turn right on red in December, and then those rules changed in February, would I be assessed based off of the February rule for what I did in December? That is the question that I heard the council member ask. Is that correct, Mr. Williams? Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'll go to Mayor Pro Tem while legal is discussing that.
A question for the city attorney. Previously, this city council or previous city councils did not have a process or procedures for conducting a motion on petition in a motion to remove a council member. And since that is a future event coming up, the actual hearing is a future event, never happened before. This here tonight are just the rules for how we conduct that hearing in the future.
That's correct.
Right. So it's a procedural type agreement here. This is identifying procedures for a future hearing.
Right, that's why I'm a little bit confused about the question, but Brandon may be able to clarify.
Right.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Another thing to consider, and I think, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, is how you were raising the issue. As you said, there is no policy by the council in place saying this is how we as a council are going to preside over one of these hearings. And we certainly hope that this will never, ever happen again and we'll never have another one of these. But the council is adopting a policy to govern all future emotion hearings if, God forbid, we ever need another one. And so you are adopting a policy that's looking forward, not backwards.
Gotcha. Does that clarify your question? Okay. All right. Good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, council. Any other discussion on the motion? the Crisp Waddell motion? All right, council look to you for action for adoption. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous by those voting 9-0. Voting in favor, Councilmember Crisp, Arp, Wright, Colvin, Moan, Jensen, Hare, Dawkins, Waddell. All right. Item 8.01, resolution for approving the sale, issuance of limited obligation bonds. CFO, Ms. Cheryl.
Good evening. You have before you resolution to approve and authorize the sale of the limited obligation bonds to finance the baseball stadium and the parking deck. There are some copies of the formats of the documents that will be used in this process, and this resolution will authorize the mayor and city staff to execute those documents. And I will be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Spivey. There is a question, Councilmember Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam CFO, when I read all the numbers, it looks to be about 3.3 million a year. And I was wondering, have we paid off some other bond debt, or are we just increasing our capacity to pay through using general funds? I noticed there's some city equity, 2.2 million, and so I wanted to kind of understand where this other money, as we pay for it each year these next 20 years.
Yes, sir. There, city staff developed a financing plan model to pay this debt along with any other debt that is planned to come up. That model, has been worked on over the past year and a half, and it is additional. It's earmarking revenues to pay for this debt service. It does anticipate that economic development will occur, and that any increases in revenues based on that economic development could be used towards paying this debt, and we do have the agreement with the county to do the same type thing. As far as your question about have we paid off any debt, I mean government debt is issued in series, so every year we're paying off series of a debt issuance. We haven't paid off an entire debt issuance, but like I said, every year we pay off series of debt. So there has been a model created. We had a committee, like I said, that lasted about a year, started about a year and a half ago. So we do have a plan to repay this debt.
All right, Ms. Spivey, so I see that this is not to exceed 52 million.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to take a wild guess at it that it's the 37 for the stadium and the 14 for the deck.
It is in one of the attachments. It shows the amount for each one. If I get to the right page, it's 37.5 million for the stadium, of which 2.2 million of that is equity coming from the general fund.
All right.
And then there's 14.7 million for the parking garage. There's cost of issuance of 333,000. The underwriters discount, that's the amount the underwriters get paid to sell the bonds, is 215,000. That currently rounds to 52,765,000, of which 2.2 million is equity. So we believe right now the amount of the bonds would be 50,565,000.
That was my question. So where was the 2 million reflected? So why did you ask for permission to not exceed 52 if you're only going to issue 50?
Depending on how the market moves between now and the date that the bonds are priced, and whether the bonds are sold at a discount or a premium, it can increase the amount of the bonds. It wouldn't increase the amount of the debt service, and that's a complicated formula that I'm probably not prepared to totally discuss with you right now about how a discount works. But right now, these bonds are expected to sell at a discount with the recent rise in interest rates, meaning that an investor will pay less, so that it takes more bonds to pay less, but they'll take so sold at a discount, and they'll receive a lower amount on their bonds, an interest rate. So we really think that the amount's going to be very close to that 50,565, but so that the deal, so that the project can move forward, we wanted to have a amount of cushion in there that if something happens in the market, we could go ahead and agree to issue the bonds.
So you took a conservative approach, is what I hear you saying.
Yes.
And if it works out in our favor, what happens to the extra money?
It doesn't get issued.
So you don't borrow what you don't need?
We don't borrow what we don't need.
Okay.
That's correct.
And this $20 million in total interest is based on you borrowing the maximum amount, right?
No, it's based on borrowing the amount we expect to borrow.
50 or 52?
50,565,000.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I had. Any other questions for Ms. Spivey? All right, council, look to you for action.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the resolution.
Had to have a motion, didn't we? Yes, sir. Go
We
ahead.
have to have a motion authorizing the sale and issuance of limited obligation bonds and the execution and delivery of a master trust agreement, a first supplemental trust agreement, a deed of trust, and related documents in connection with the financing of a baseball stadium and parking deck in the city of Fayetteville.
Thank you, Councilmember Chris. Seconded by Councilmember Wright. Any other discussion on the motion? All right, council, I look to you for your votes. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous by those voting 9-0.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a point of order?
Yes, sir.
I do want the record to reflect, because I saw some funny looks when Mr. Williams left. Mr. Williams did not abandon the council. Mr. Williams could not vote on the last two items on the agenda, and so he saw no need to sit here and listen, since he has no voice or vote in the proceedings. And I want the record to show he didn't walk out on the council, he didn't abandon the council, but there was no need for him to remain.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, thank you for clarification. All right, item 8.02, Astros Founders Program. Mr. Bauer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christoph Bauer, Deputy City Manager. This is an item that we brought to you at your work session back in January of this year, where the Astros have asked to put together a Founders Program where they're actually selling masonry with people's names on it to be commemorated in our new stadium. So this is an agreement which just memorializes their authority to do that and creates an obligation for them to maintain that area. Available to answer any questions you may have.
Council, any questions for Deputy City Manager Bauer, reference to this? Councilmember Wright?
Can you explain what you said they were selling something?
Yeah, they're selling a brick, $250 for a brick. It also gives them...
250?
Correct.
Where are these bricks going to go?
They're going to go right to the left of the entry to the stadium, right next to the brick wall. There's a brick wall, and we've talked about what we're going to do on that brick wall just before you go into the stadium to the left, and it's going to go right in front of that area.
Well, I think that's a great idea for residents to get involved with investment of the future growth and, the commitment of the Astros coming, and I think that would be a great welcoming for the Astros, although we're going to do this anyway, but I think that's a great a posture on their part, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wright. Councilmember Chris?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, that I've joined the founders, whatever you want to call it, the Astros Founders Program. Now, $250, there's an application form, and you get the paver, but if you sign on for what kind of seat is it, season ticket holder, then $50 of that goes toward the season ticket. But I want my name over there on this multi-million-dollar project. And I also saved my shovel where we did the groundbreaking. I've got it clean because I want to bring that back, and I want that shovel somewhere in that stadium because I think it's extremely unique. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Art.
Yes, sir. And just so folks know, the pavers will be similar to the pavers like we have at the Airborne Special Operations Museum. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I think the pavers at the museum are a bit larger.
Yeah, they're a bit, but that's the same concept.
Absolutely.
You're going to buy a brick, and it's going to be you being memorialized or your family member that'll be there for the stadium.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think we've answered all questions. All right, council. Look for a motion to.
Mr. Mayor, I would move that we adopt the Astros Founders Program for the downtown baseball stadium as presented by Mr. Bauer.
Second that motion.
Councilmember Art, motion, seconded by Councilmember Chris. Mr. Hare, was that a question? That was voting. All right, head of the game. All right, council. Look. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous by those voting 9-0. All right, council. Motion to adjourn?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Have a good evening.